Hi, my name's Richard Nugent. I'm the Managing Director of 21 Leadership. And the purpose of this video is to enrich and develop your understanding and practices around resilience. Now, if you're of a certain age, then you already know what this is. And if you already know what this is, then the chances are you can remember the strapline that went with the advertising campaign. If you don't know what this is a Weeble. And it's a simple concept. It's an egg-shaped character with a weight in the base, which means that when it's on a flat surface, no matter how far over I tip it, it will always stand back up again. Now, as I say, it's a simple concept, but I think it's a perfect metaphor for resilience. And in fact, the strap line that went with the advertising campaign was that Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. You see, in far too many organizations do I see resilience being talked about as if it's always been stoic, always facing headlong into the wind and just getting on with it, no matter how bad things get. That stiff upper lip is always the way. And I fundamentally believe that that is not what resilience is about. You see, resilience is about the recovery from challenge. Resilience is about wobbling but standing back up again. And in fact, in some academic studies, resilience is talked about in such a way that you can only be resilient if you've faced and overcome significant challenge. Now, I have a slight distinction to that because some of the most resilient people that I know are the ones that when they were wobbling at their most, when they didn't know how they were going to get back up again, they just knew they would. And I believe that resilience is part of our natural default human state. But how do we ensure that the people that we lead maintain their resilience? How do we maintain our own resilience in times of challenge? And how do we make sure that we model the way when it comes to resilience for those around us? Well, I'm a huge believer in habits being built little and often. So here are 3 simple but valuable practices that when you do them on a regular basis, and it may be 5 minutes a day, every day, it will build your resilience and allow you to access that natural default resilient state. The first is to remember a time when, and it's to remember a time when you have faced adversity and you've overcome it. The game is absolutely not to spend your time thinking about challenges from the past. The game is to think about the overcoming of those challenges. What kind of things did you do to overcome them? And how did you know when you had? Secondly, to connect with those people who give you energy. And those aren't always the people who are nearest and dearest to us. And it's important to keep in touch with them as well. But I think it's vital for us to have access to a bank of people who we know that when we pick up the phone and speak to them, when we put the phone back down again, we will feel better, more energized, more optimistic, more resilient than we did when we spoke to them. And thirdly, focus on small wins. Those of you who are familiar with Covey's circles of influence and concern, that's a brilliant tool to help to do this. When our resilience is wobbling, it's easy for our brains to focus on all of the things that have gone wrong, or on all of the things that we haven't done, or that we feel like we can't do, and we can get really, really stuck. So when we consciously train our brain to notice the things that we have done, or to scan for the things that we can do, even if they're tiny, small steps towards where we need to get to, it helps us to access that natural state of resilience. It re-energizes us for the further steps along the road. Resilience is incredibly important in organizations. It's incredibly important in leadership. It's incredibly important on a personal level. And I'd urge you to spend time programming these things in to build small habits. So when you need to access your resilience, it's easy to do so. One final point. If you haven't explored self-efficacy as an additional part of your well-being program I'd urge you to do so now. For me, the greatest discovery of 2020 was the importance of self-efficacy on personal well-being. If you have any questions at all on anything in this video, you can email me at richard@twentyoneleadership.com. That's 21 in words, and I'll be delighted to help you. Stay well, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.